Hey, welcome to the Gentleman Sports Club podcast. My name is David Turner, and I am here without a co-host, actually. So this is going to be interesting. This is a solo show, and hold on, I want to get this. I want to make sure that I am streaming and sending this to everyone. Bear with me. This is just the way that it goes sometimes, which is, it is what it is. You don't always get the benefit of, one or even two amazing co-hosts. Sometimes you just have to sit here and do it on your own. And some people would even venture to say that I talk to myself quite a bit. So maybe I'm properly equipped for this. Who knows? All right. Well, I'm going to have to edit that I said it was Deuce and Dave. I was supposed to have Deuce on with me tonight. There was some issue in terms of getting him on. And because of those issues, it's just going to be me tonight. So what that means is I'm going to need you guys to comment along the way. Make some comments. Work with me here. Play with me here. Should be interesting. I do have some takes for you tonight. Some pretty interesting takes. But first and foremost, I had this whole thing planned out where, because I wasn't able to come on to the show this past Sunday, I was actually at a comedy show. And so Deuce and Josh filled in for me pretty well. Really happy with that. Good show. And so I had this whole thing planned where, I was going to come in and I was going to play, my entry music. So I'm still going to do it. Fuck it. Because I'm back. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of sad when it's just me sitting here talking to myself when I play entry music for my own entrance. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta make lemonade. So I'm gonna avoid small talk with myself because it just doesn't work very well. But and hi Molly, welcome Molly. I'm gonna avoid some small talk with myself since it is just me. And hello Josh, welcome Josh. Now, Josh is having technical issues so bad that he can't even get his video, his audio working or anything. So I heard he almost threw a laptop out a window, which is a brand new laptop. That's an expensive mistake to make. But hello, Josh. You just said hello, David. Thank you, Josh, for not doing that because that would put you out a lot longer, I would assume, and maybe even out of work, which, that's probably going to have bigger implications. Almost did it twice, I guess. I don't know, Josh. I don't know what to tell you. But, yeah, so I'm going to need some folks to keep me alive here tonight. But my first take involves some news that came across the wire shortly after Sunday, which thank God that this whole show that Kevin Durant's put on this offseason is over. Yeah, Danielle. It's all right. It's all right. He's gonna make it. He's gonna come back on the show. I know he is. He's a dedicated human and loves this show. So, but yeah. So Kevin Durant, this whole offseason has been a complete mess. For the Nets generally, but it's also been a huge, just insane, I don't know, it seems like we get a new chapter in this anthology every single offseason with him. As I said before, he's never happy, right? I've never even seen him smile on the court. And maybe that's just his disposition, like maybe that's just the way he is, but he's not a happy person. And every single offseason, we get the same thing with him. Everything goes awry, and then he wants to leave. And even when things don't go awry, he takes things as slights, and then he wants to leave. And now it's just been announced that he's not going anywhere, at least for the time being. He's going to stick around with the Nets, and I guess with Kyrie, I guess that's going to happen. Ben Simmons, if he ever takes the court again. So can I just say, Kevin Durant, he's just sealed his fate. He's never going to win another championship. And this is why I say that. I mean, look, he's not... First of all, he hitched his wagon to Kyrie, who is guaranteed to not play more than 60 games in a season. I always joke there'll be some war that breaks out in some country we've never heard of, and out of solidarity, he won't play basketball for some reason because, I don't know, that's what will solve things in that foreign country in his brain. I don't know. He doesn't actually like playing basketball. He likes being a basketball player. It's very different, right? All the perks that come with being a basketball player in the NBA. And apparently not even really the money, because he's willing to forfeit a whole ton of money not to play basketball. He's always trying to make himself the cover of some, I don't know, some movement, and nobody buys in. It gets a ton of negative press because of something he does, and then he blames the media for, being hard on him. So Kevin Durant has now hitched his wagon officially for another season to Kyrie, which is a nightmare. And then on top of that, he's going to play with Ben Simmons, who never takes the court, doesn't seem to really care, doesn't work in the offseason. He's not, again, another non-basketball player. This is the island of misfit toys. None of these guys fit anywhere else. James Harden was on this team for a little bit, which just goes to my point. If you're just a basketball player that doesn't really want to play basketball, then you're probably going to do a small stop in Brooklyn. And it's pretty clear what's going to happen. They let, if healthy, this team is super legit, said Josh. Yeah, if healthy. If my grandmother had different appendage, she'd be my grandfather, Josh. That's it's a pretty big if. But look, I still don't beat the Celtics. Yeah. They didn't actually win one game against the Celtics. They didn't win one, if you recall. They got swept, I believe. But they didn't really. They lost a lot. They lost LaMarcus Aldridge. Not that he's much. What was that guy's name that was good for the Pistons for a bunch of years? They lost him as well. They lost a bunch of their bench players, and they signed a bunch of nobodies. They did bring back Patty Mills, which is a good. He's a good role player, but it's basically a three-man show here, and two of them really don't like playing basketball. And then what's going to happen? They're going the same fate, the same exact fate. They're going to go down swinging or barely swinging in the playoffs. And then he's going to be upset. And then next offseason, he's going to be turning 35, which I really wish that Josh had told me his age before, I made the take that I wanted him on the Celtics. That's neither here nor there. I won't continue to hold that against him on every show. But, if I had just known his age and his height and, his body breaking down, I would have had a different take. But Josh, I'm going to let that one slide because we're good. But Kevin Durant is going to be turning 35 next offseason. He already had a depressed market. He already had a market that showed that really nobody wanted him. I mean, the Celtics, allegedly they were trading Jaylen Brown, but now I don't even know if that's true. I mean, the Celtics could have come out and said that they didn't want him, Kevin Durant, and they didn't do that. But, I mean, I'm not convinced that whole thing wasn't just to try to pressure and strong-arm the Celtics into making a move. That definitely could have been the case. I mean, but now you've got a depressed market. Who was going to trade for him? Who was going to trade assets to him that would, A, even allow the money to work, and B, still have a core around Kevin Durant that would make him want to be traded to that team? It was rumored that Miami wanted to, but the money wouldn't work unless you got rid of Jimmy Butler, and that's not going to happen. Who does he play with at that point? And it was rumored that he was going to go to the Phoenix Suns, which might have been a good fit. But then Phoenix backed out, and that was this year. They're going to change their minds next offseason when Kevin Durant's a year older? And that contract's not going away. I mean, he's making something like almost $200 million. That contract's not going anywhere. So he sealed his fate. This is over for him. He's not going to win another championship. He's certainly not going to win another championship with the Nets. Who knows? Maybe he comes, at the very tail end of his career. He's willing to take, a cheaper deal and essentially be a sharpshooter for a team. Maybe that happens, at 37. But I don't think that his disposition is going to change at 37. I've learned firsthand that the older you get, the grumpier you get. You want a 3-year older, 3-year grumpier Kevin Durant making $40 million a year? It's not going to work. So I think, and the beauty of doing this show by myself right now, by the way, is I don't have anybody here to stop my takes. Nobody can interject. Nobody can jump in and tell me that I'm wrong. So this is actually a beautiful thing. Nobody to hold me accountable. And Kevin Durant, he's done. He will. The 3 championships that he won, they were a result of a team that had already won a championship without him, didn't need him. He rode the bus, and he'll never be a driver. And this offseason, you'll see it. Josh, blah blah blah. Yeah, because I'm right. I'm right. Hey, another thing I was right about, by the way. Tom Brady, shitty human. For people that don't know, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, I explained why, based on him becoming a traitor and the entire 2019 season, his final season with the Patriots, he was suiting up for the Patriots while having back channel talks with the Miami Dolphins. And so because of that, we have stripped him of all 6 of his titles that he won with the Patriots. The Patriots do still possess those rings, those Lombardis, but they've been stripped of Tom Brady. He is now a 1-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and even that is really up for debate because, once again, he was playing footsies with the Dolphins this offseason with his sham retirement. And trying to go to another team, potentially for ownership stake. So that whole thing, you'll have to talk to some podcaster with the Bucs to decide whether or not he deserves even that ring. That's not for me to strip away. But these 6 there are. So he's a traitor, shitty human, and I'm just speculating here. I'm speculating there's been some weird news that's been coming out. Can I just say Tom Brady's marriage might be in shambles? And I'm not wishing this on the guy. Yes, he's a traitor. Yes, he's a shitty human being. Yes, he neglected to even recognize Patriots fans. When he did his sham retirement, he did a big thing for the Bucs and then said, hey, I already gave you guys your love when I left. And yes, I fake ended my career, but, just giving you guys a heads up, don't expect anything from me anymore. Like it's somehow the fans' fault that he had some sort of fallout with Belichick and Kraft. So now he mysteriously went missing for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. And there was a bunch of speculation about where he went. There was even some speculation that he went to do the Masked Singer, which is I guess at this point he's a diva. He's become somebody that, you know, shows up when he feels like it and does what he wants, and that's fine. I guess he's earned that based on his time with the Bucks, because certainly didn't earn it from his time with the Patriots. But there was this big speculation. Brady came out. Brady said, "No, I didn't do the Masked Singer, though I did wear a mask. I guess maybe he went. There was some speculation that he went out on vacation to the Bahamas or something like that." Well, then there was a Tampa Bay, and I want to get the name of this guy because I want to make sure that I'm being. Well, let me set this up first. So early, what was it? Late last year. This was in October of last year. He said this was referencing his relationship. He said it's an issue. It's a very difficult issue to reconcile without just saying, "Hey, it's time to retire." This was on the Let's Go podcast. I think there's, we're coming to the end here too, so I don't want to miss any of the kid stuff. Okay, and this was talking about, a difficult issue in his family life. He continued, "I think my wife has, held down the house for a long time now, and I think there's things that she wants to accomplish. She hasn't worked as much in the last 10, 12 years, just raising our family and kind of committing to being in a life in Boston and then moving to Florida." And then back in April of this year, he said, or this was actually Gisele that said this, his wife, Gisele Bündchen, "His focus is on his career. Mine is mostly on the kids. It's never the fairy tale people want to believe it is. It takes work to really be in sync with someone, especially after you have kids." Now, let me just tell you something, okay? I've been married now for almost 6 years. That might not seem like a super long time in the grand scheme of things, and it's not. But it's long enough to know one thing, that if you're talking to people, if your wife is talking to people, and she says, it's not the fairy tale that people want to believe it is, and his focus is on his career, and it takes work to really be in sync with someone, especially after you have kids, it's basically saying he's not putting in work into his family. I mean, basically, she said that. His focus is on his career. Mine's mostly on the kids. And after you have kids, you have to be in sync with somebody. You can't just focus on your career. There are sacrifices. Now, they're worth it. They're definitely worth it. But they're sacrifices. And I heard another sportscaster say something like this before. He was saying that he was a smoker. And he said, you know what? His wife doesn't really mind the smoking. What his wife gets mad about is when he says he's going to quit smoking, and then she catches him outside, huddled in the corner, smoking a cigarette. Tom Brady said that he was retiring. Now, what if this wasn't a sham? Oh, and by the way, I just got... Josh, the views currently expressed by the hosts of this show do not reflect this of the Gentleman Sports Club and its affiliates. Conversations will be held with the hosts post-show. Okay, all right. But look, what if this wasn't a sham? At least not to his family. He's such a calculated person, right? What if this wasn't totally a sham, at least not to his family? What if he did promise his wife that he was going to retire? And then he spent, 5 weeks on the couch, and he said, fuck this, I'm not doing this. He realized that his wife has a life, his kids have a life during the day, that 9 to 5 doesn't really matter. And that quote, it just gets me. His focus is on his career. Mine is mostly on the kids. It's never the fairy tale people want to believe it is. It takes work to really be in sync with someone, especially after you have kids. Now, this missed time, this offseason, he's just come back. It says, and this was Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. And I did listen to the interview, and they asked him, they said, hey, what happened with Tom? Why was he gone? And he said, well, I can tell you this. He kind of laughed a little bit, and then he got serious, and he said, it wasn't a vacation. This is something family related, but it's not related to a family member's health. And the way it wasn't, I mean, I guess it was kind of what he said, but it was how he said it that was really what kind of stuck with me. The way he said it was almost like, well, he said, it's not my news to break. You know, I'm sure people will find out about it in due time, but I'm going to leave it to Tom to say whatever it is, you know, whatever the news is. And the way he said it, you know, the chuckle in the beginning kind of threw me off a little bit. It was almost like, oh, wait till you hear this. But it did sound really serious. And you know, I'm not somebody that takes things like this, you know, family life and sort of the quality of family life. And I hope and pray that things are going well on that front. But it is a question that I have. Because if he's not doing some thing, if he's not doing some Masked Singer thing or some, you know, I even heard somebody speculate that there was somebody that had sold property to him in the Bahamas and that he was opening some sort of TB12 facility in the Bahamas. I don't know. I think everybody's guessing at this point. But based on these comments back in April and the admittance late last year that, you know, things aren't hunky-dory, maybe this was time taken away, sort of a hopefully a reconciliation trip, something where they take time with themselves and their family and they, you know, figure things out. Hopefully he did. But I mean, damn, who knows? Who knows? And I believe, Josh, I wanted to you had an ESPN Power Rankings for the NFL. And I'm going to bring this up. This is a preseason poll that came out 2 days ago. And his problem, I guess, with this, mostly, is the Chiefs at number 4. But let me just run this down for you. So the Buffalo Bills are the number 1 on this list, okay? And I'll give Josh a say for him. He says, can I just say that this ESPN Power Rankings list is garbage? Josh, you know what I'm about to do, buddy? I'm about to skewer you because you're not here to I get to do that. Buffalo Bills number 1. You know what? I disagree with that, and it pains me to say it. Josh Allen is, I think, at this point, the best quarterback in the NFL. He's so dynamic. He runs. First of all, he's fast as hell, but he's also a tough son of a bitch. Like you're not just going to take him down. Josh says the Bills and the Bucks are fine. The Bucks, I even have questions about. They just had another guard go down for the season, I believe for the season. They lost their center for the season. And everybody else on the roster, it's a bunch of old dudes. It's like I said before, it's basically like the Lakers last season. They brought in Julio Jones, fantastic. Mike Evans, who's good to be injured by halfway through the season. Godwin, same kind of deal. Antonio Brown's not on that roster anymore. I don't think just hanging tight and bringing back their roster another year older is going to do them any favors. So I would actually question putting Tampa Bay 2. I actually don't know why they're there. I don't even know why they're there. Like I would put them in the top 5, but I definitely wouldn't put them 2. Number 3 being the LA Rams. It's hard to argue with the Rams. I think maybe they're actually a little low. I might put them 2 just because I think they are a team that they could bring back. They're so star-studded. They could bring back the same team and be fine. I don't see why they couldn't win again next year. I think that they're probably a couple years out before age hits that team in any significant way. The Chiefs at number 4. I think that the Chiefs at number 4 puts a little bit too much of a premium on Patrick Mahomes. Now, there's a huge question mark at wide receiver because let's forget defense with the Chiefs. The defense doesn't matter. It hasn't mattered in a long time. Maybe it will matter this year, and if it does matter this year, then they're in a lot of trouble because that means that their offense isn't functioning the way that they would hope that their offense would function in order for them to be successful. So I'll say this. If their wide receiver core can function in a way that is at all reminiscent, because they don't have that take the top off the defense guy. At least I don't think right now. I don't think they do. Valdes-Scantling, that was a sneaky good addition because he's a big fast guy. I think that Andy Reid is such a talented offensive brain that I could see them scheming up some plays a lot like what Tyreek ran, and he's so fast that who knows? I mean, he's not Tyreek in any way. I'm not saying that he is, but maybe he doesn't need to be when you also add Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, Juju is not a number one wide receiver. He's not. But in all actuality, he doesn't need to be that for the Chiefs to be good. He can be a number 2 receiver, maybe even number 3, because I do count Travis Kelce as a wide receiver in a sense. Like, yes, he's a tight end, but he's not doing any blocking. His effectiveness comes as a wide receiver, as a pass catcher. And then with Valdes-Scantling really kind of taking the route tree that Tyreek would run with that speed, I think that does push Juju to a place where he is successful and has proven he can be successful given his time that he had with the Steelers when Antonio Brown was catching passes for them. So I don't hate that either. I mean, I don't love it because I think the Raiders are actually a better team than the Chiefs, but I understand, at least in the preseason, putting them high on the list because we don't yet know what that looks like. We'll see. With the Bengals at 5, this is interesting to me, right? Because there's been no real games played. They haven't really seen they haven't seen a full game with their number ones out there. That's interesting. I don't see why they're so low on the list. Usually this whole trying to make a list in the preseason, you put the 2 Super Bowl guys at the top and you go from there because they deserve the benefit of the doubt. They've earned that by getting there, and then let them, drop wherever after game 1. So I do think that their defense was surprisingly good last year, and I do think that their offense is going to take a step forward this year because it's another year together. They haven't made any significant changes on offense. But we'll see what happens there. That's going to be interesting. I just think they deserve to be a little bit higher given the fact that they did make it to the Super Bowl last year. I'm of no mind here that they're actually going to be good next year because typically the Super Bowl loser has a pretty terrible season the next year. But Joe Burrow does have some stones on him, so I could see him bucking that trend. Number 6, and I'm just going to go to 10 here. Number 6, the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. They lost the best wide receiver in the NFL, Davante Adams, to the Raiders. I think it's a crime to put the Packers this high without seeing the Raiders yet. I do think that Packers at 6 is ridiculous. It's 100% based on Aaron Rodgers and nothing else. Sammy Watkins, he'll play 4 games next year. He doesn't play. Then after that, it's just a bunch of idiots. Like the Packers do not deserve to be this high. Packers, I would put it maybe 12. So 6 is way too high. 7, San Francisco 49ers. What? 7? What? Okay, we don't even know who's going to be playing quarterback. Okay? There's been reports all over the place that Trey Lance sucks. That they're thinking about hanging on to and starting Jimmy Garoppolo again. Because Trey Lance isn't ready. I don't understand this at all. Based on what? They had kind of a surprising run in the playoffs last year. No. The Niners, to me, maybe neck and neck with the Packers. 11-12. I don't know what's going on here. I just lost my... Hold on. Josh, tell me, did other sound just come through like randomly through this list while I just got like a bunch of news stuff come in. I hope not. It's like some news stuff. All right. All right. So moving on here. The Chargers at 8. You know what? The further that I go here, not seeing the Raiders, this list is a joke. Josh, I'm not even going to skewer you on this. My problem isn't really with the Chiefs. It's the fact that we've come to number 8, and I can see where are the Raiders? The Raiders are at 13. Stop it. All right, 8, 9, and 10 are the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Cowboys. The Chargers are one of those teams. They're kind of like the Colts of old. Like everybody every year said they had the most talented roster, and they just fucking never did. I don't know. Is Herbert going to take that next step and bring this team to the next level? I don't know. Maybe. The thing is, their pass catchers just keep getting older. They just keep getting older. I like Keenan Allen. What is he now? I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay. They did 2 major things in the offseason, okay? They added Khalil Mack, and they're putting him across from Joey Bosa. That is a killer 1-2 punch. Like, massive. There isn't going to be a team that matches them in sack totals next year. And then they also, so they're doing the kind of Belichick move here where most of their strength is going to be on the defensive line, or emphasis on the defensive line, and then the cornerbacks. So they put a lot of pressure, and then they force errant throws, and then they've got guys to pick up the garbage on the back end. And they added J.C. Jackson, so at cornerback. So that's going to be interesting. He's a ball hawk, so I could see their defense being really good, but I don't see their offense getting much better. I just don't. So I don't know. I would kind of put them in the mold a couple seasons ago of what the Titans did. They had a pretty stellar defense, but their offense was kind of iffy because they had Tannehill running in the show. So I could kind of see them falling in that mold. Then you've got the Ravens at 9. Now, the Ravens at 9 is interesting. I think this assumes a lot about Lamar Jackson. They had a great draft. I know they had a great draft because we had this bet where I never actually saw the spoils of my winnings. But the Ravens had the best draft in the NFL. I don't care what Jason says about the Chiefs. Ravens had an amazing draft. They got a bunch of really good defensive guys. So I think their defense is probably going to be legit. I don't know. Everybody's been talking about Patrick Queen every year since he's been drafted, but the last couple of years that he's been in the league, I haven't seen anything really from him, at least nothing surprising or I mean, Micah Parsons has already done more in one season than Patrick Queen in 2. So we'll see what happens with him. Actually, he's been in the league now for 3 years. This is his 4th year. So we'll see. And then the Dallas Cowboys at 10. Now, Josh, this was something that you had called on or highlighted at least, where you said you were shocked at this. Me too. I don't know. They were. I mean, did they even make the playoffs last year? They didn't, right? I don't even think. Oh no, they did. They did because then they lost on that stupid little running around play that they couldn't snap the ball in time, and that's how their season ended. I remember that now. They lost to the Niners. I don't know. This is shocking to me because they obviously lost Amari Cooper. Their best running back is their backup. Zeke is not getting any better. I don't know. That feels weak to me. Now, I get that there are a lot of question marks because, like, going down the list here, 11 is the Titans. This is stupid. This is stupid. I said I was only going to go to 10, but I have to point out how dumb this is. They just lost A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Why are the Titans at 11? And why are the Broncos at 12 and the Raiders are at 13? I actually might put this. So if you look at the AFC West, right, and you just break this down by the AFC West, in the top 13, there are all 4 teams in the AFC West are on this list. Okay? They rank them Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I would actually reverse that. I actually think it's going to be the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chargers, and then the Chiefs. I think they have this ass backwards. I mean, we'll see. This is now, been recorded and will be published. So we'll see what people think about that or what actually shakes out. But that's ridiculous. This is such a joke. And they even say they have like a who's on the hot seat for every guy. They have Clelin Ferrell. That guy has been on and off, like on the hot seat and just been dismissed. He was the 4th overall pick in the 2019 draft. There were like 3 Clemson better than him. Come on. Did these guys, like, this is ESPN. Does this guy write, or this person write for sports? Like, do they normally write sports? Have they been in? This feels a lot like when I let, like, my wife Jenna pick my March Madness bracket, and it's like jersey color. Because this is not representative of anybody, any reality that I live in. Okay. So I'm gonna finish this thing out with my worst person in sports. If you guys aren't familiar with this, okay, there was a guy who went viral at a Mets-Yankees game. This was a Yankees fan. I can tell by the hat. I have to share my screen. You guys have to see this. This is hilarious. So I'm gonna share this video. Let me make sure the sound's down a little bit. It is. Okay. Because I don't really care about what they're saying. All right.
Game in the Bronx, and
so this guy takes this straw. Okay.
Exactly
watch this. He puts the hot dog in his beer. He hollows out the hot dog. He puts it in his beer and starts chugging some beer out of the hot dog. What is this? What are we doing? What are we doing? People on social media were calling this the glizzy. I don't really know what that means. I don't even really know if I'm supposed to say that word. It sounds wrong. But this looks wrong. This guy he's hollowing out a hot dog to drink his beer. Now, in his defense, okay, that's the most American thing I've ever seen. It is the most American thing I've ever seen. But you are the worst person in sports, my friend. Josh says, "Real man of genius." Yeah, no, it's a fast track to a heart attack. I'll say that. It's disgusting. First of all, don't ruin a beer. Don't ruin the beer. All right. Not to mention, what, the beer costs you $15. The hot dog costs you $8. So what? This is you went out to a game and you spent $23 to drink your beer. What's going on? Not to mention, if you've got a significant other at home and now this has gone viral, everybody knows what a piece of shit you are. Like, everybody knows that you're drinking beer with sodium links. What is this about? Like, what? I don't know. I feel like Josh, you would have had something pretty wise to say about this. Like, maybe you had done this before. Like, you seem like, Josh, the kind of guy that knows his way around a glizzy. Do I have that right, Josh? So I'm glad I got to get a lot of these things off my chest tonight. when they're said on this show, they're marked in stone. And I've marked in stone the fact that Kevin Durant's never going to win another championship. I've called it here first that there's some significant shakeup happening in the, and I'm quoting Giselle here when I tell you that the marriage is not a fairy tale like everyone thinks it is. I'm quoting Giselle there. And, you know, sometimes you just got to get a glizzy in your life. So with that, I'm gonna close this thing out, and Josh, I'm gonna play for you. I'm gonna play me out here. This is what happens when you leave me alone for too long. I'm gonna play me out. Cheers, everybody.